and jazz players raping bitches, and
Nigga,
but then
it's
eventually
because
when they,
niggas had their own businesses and was making their own money.
no, well, yeah, because it got to that because they're like, oh, well, it'll be legal, but you have to get a stamp, but you have to take your bud to Washington to get it tested. But then when you got to Washington, they're like, oh, well, you was trafficking.
No,
And it's
fuck
like,
all that shit.
but y'all let me, y'all told me to bring it up here for the stamp. Well, nah, you brought it across state lines, so what the
They
nigga?
made they made federal income tax because of slavery. You had to pay a federal income tax on your slaves or whatever the case may be. Black people should not ever have to pay no federal income tax. Ever, ever again, bro. They made that shit for slaves or whatever the case may be. So like
You only had to pay taxes on slaves or what? Federal taxes on slaves.
they made that tax for slaves, I think. Like, cause you're making so much profit now that the government gotta get some. You see what I'm saying? Like, so now they make federal income tax. So whatever you made off the income this year, you gotta give us some of that shit.
Oh,
Right? Hold on, let me hear Faizon Love say it. Faizon, of all people, that's who fucking brought this to my attention. I didn't even know this shit. And you know, Vlad finna look that nigga up, finna look up, he finna fact check you, you know. Um, let's try this one. You still watching the stream?
thought I was, but I am now.
Listen, I remember at one point I caused a lot of
Forgot I
controversy
paused
because
it,
I said,
so
listen,
thank
I
you.
feel that I support
But I'm watching
reparations
now.
and it should be.
Hmm. Faizon Love said he a blood.
Listen, I remember at one point I caused a lot of controversy because I said, listen, I feel that I support reparations and it should be possibly in the form of free college education. A lot of people got on me about that. And my thinking was like, well, considering how many black people in this country, there's no way for America to have paid for this. But then COVID came and I saw the type of checks that got handed out during COVID. So I publicly went out. I mean, when I interviewed with D.L. Hughley and other interviews, I said, you know something, I was wrong in saying that. I don't believe that, reparations should come in the form of college education. I do believe they should come in the form of tax or, in terms of like tax exemption or cash payments or possibly land or a combination of those
It
things.
should be, exactly, it should be tax exempt, and when you turn 18, if you have a job, you verify you have a job, you automatically qualify for a home. Fuck all this calling your mama, your taxes, your all this bullshit, all this red tape bullshit. You qualify automatically. If you have a job a certain time, that's what it should be. Fuck all that, because that's just bullshit too. The mortgage industry is bullshit. Like this fucking, fuck out of here. I encourage nobody to get a fucking mortgage. Save your motherfucking money, buy the house cash, or build that shit. Fuck a mortgage.
I agree. I agree. As someone who is a homeowner right now, who didn't have to get a mortgage, who found alternate ways of actually buying the house, you really realize how bad a fucking mortgage is.
It's fucking bullshit.
We save so much money by not getting a mortgage.
Fuck
it's just literally you pay double or triple over the course of, depending on what your interest rate is. You could easily pay 2 or 3 times the cost of the house over the course of that mortgage.
I have an Uncle Jake. He has a house on 103rd and Hoover. I said, Uncle Jake, how much you pay for this house? He said, $18,000. I said, when did you pay it off? He said, shit, I'm still paying off. In 1963.
Right.
1963.
And the bank companies are cold, man. Like, I remember I sold a condo in Jersey. I think it was a 20-year mortgage. I paid for 10 years for it. All I paid was interest. Yeah. When it was time to sell it and pay it off, I pretty much owed the same amount.
Yeah.
They get just interest for it. Like it's a cold hustle. And if you miss a few payments, they'll take your shit. Like,
how you
the coldest hustle.
You miss a few payments. I thought we said we had 30 years to pay this motherfucker off. What you calling me now for?
Right.
Fuck you calling me now? It's a 30-year mortgage, right? Okay, we in month 2.
Yep.
So that's what I'm saying. It's like those things can help. But nobody talks about that. We talking about some goddamn COVID's and other bullshit. I'm like, man, that's why I don't vote. Fuck that.
Well, Kyrie Irving, Nike just announced they're dropping him.
Fuck
He no
Nike.
longer
I'm
has
not wearing
sneaker.
Nike anymore. Let me take these off. Fuck Nike.
Go take them off.
Yeah.
Right. He actually had a deal for a signature sneaker, which was making I guess at least $11 million a year after the whole movie thing that he had posted up.
That's not where the fuck he said it, bro. I'm trying to find where the fuck he said that shit. Man, that was a good ad. The money would go right back to the kettle. Okay, this might be a good one.
Well, I mean, right now in California,
Yep.
Where I live, there's a committee
You can
that
hear
is
it.
now that Governor Newsom actually pushed for over a reparations program that. Well, we posted this, and one of the people that was actually in the committee responded and kind of corrected what we said. And what she said was she's part of this committee, and based on economists that they have hired to basically look into reparations and the housing wealth gap and so forth, the economists have recommended $223,000 per person in California who is a descendant of
Fuck
slavery.
that. Fuck that 23,000. You know what it is? Fuck that. That's another trick bag. You know why? Because that money's gonna go right back to Cadillac, right back to motherfucking Benz. Fuck that. You know what it should be?
Just like
Black
that.
people should be tax exempt. Because when you were a slave, you were tax write-off. The taxes were created to fund the Civil War. And number two,
Taxes have always been around.
No,
I mean, they were created specifically for the
look it
Civil
up.
War. Maybe there might be new taxes, but taxes have always been around
The
in any
British
government
tax was
system.
something different. The American tax came when they needed to fund the Civil War.
I mean, you needed tax period to fund the government before
Vlad,
the
you
Civil
look it
War.
up. It was
Who paid for the salaries of all the civil workers around?
Of course.
Around the country.
Oh, that was us. That was us, Vlad. We were the civil workers.
Okay, what about in the North? Who was paying where slavery wasn't allowed? Who was paying for
They
the
paid for
roads
themselves.
and the school? They just paid for themselves. There's no taxes.
Yes,
Really?
there was no taxes.
The road. So money just appeared, and they took that money and built roads with it.
It's called commerce.
Taxes.
No, it's not. Taxes was created. The income tax and the federal was created during the Civil War to fund.
Okay, I looked it up. You're right. The income tax
Yes.
was created to fund the Civil War, but taxes as a whole were around
The
before.
British brought the taxes over with that bullshit from Rome.
The income tax started in 1861 to fund the Civil War. You're actually right. So we're kind of both right, but you make a good point. I got it.
Thank you.
Yes.
Cut my mic on. So he basically just, schooled that nigga on the fact that the federal income tax came to fund the Civil fucking War, which we lost. Which the South lost, right? That was a tax on slaves. Why the fuck do we now need to pay income tax? That's the very least you can do. Actually, the other least you can do is this right here, nigga. Motherfucking DL Hughley, my nigga.
Oh yeah, I saw his too. Yeah.
Well, let's go off on a tangent for a second because
Listen
you
to
mentioned
him.
reparations. And I just did an interview with Faizon Love where we talked about, the proposed California reparations, which is at $223,000. And Faizon's reply was like, fuck that $223,000. That's just going to go back to Cadillac and Mercedes. What we really need is no taxes. When a black person turns 18, they automatically qualify for a house.
That
What I
part.
mean? That type of thing.
The house part, bro. That part.
Fuck that 23,000. You know what it is? Fuck that. That's another trick bag. You know why? Because that money's gonna go right back to Cadillac, right back to motherfucking Benz. Fuck that. You know what it should be? Black people should be tax exempt. Because when you were a slave, you were tax write-offs.
and people got mad at him saying, "Oh, well, he was born in Cuba. He's a foreigner. He shouldn't even have a."
Facts. Did you hear that part? The Cuba. It's kind of ironic. I didn't know this nigga fucking Faizon Love was born in Cuba, bruh. I was like, but that right there should go to show you that the Negro experience is not about where you was born from. It's about where you lived, where you grew up. Oppression is about where the fuck you grew up. It is not about where you from. Obama is not no nigga. I loved Obama. I love everything he was about, you know what I mean? But he didn't stand a fucking chance. You know, never had the House majority, Senate majority, none of that shit. He was never there to do, he was just a symbol, you know what I mean? Which I'm going to vote for that symbol any day of the week. Because we at the point to where we need symbols. You know, that's just what the fuck it is. But it's just funny how a dude that was born in Cuba still gives a fuck about these rights that he probably would not even get. You feel me? So I love
An opinion about this, even though Faizon's dad is black. You know, yes, his mom is Cuban.
I could tell.
Well,
I could tell. Here's the thing that I find interesting.
Go ahead.
First, it was just kind of.
Cubans, they get automatic rights as soon as they step over here.
Okay. They get full citizenship?
Yeah, like most Cubans, they go from, oh yeah, Democrats.
So the wet foot, dry foot rule doesn't matter when you was born?
Nope.
Okay.
But
because you know at one point there was a wet foot, dry foot rule, like
that's still in the play, but it changed with the presidents. I can't remember if.
Yeah, I know at some point everybody there was a citizen no matter what. But I just didn't know if it applied to a certain people who was born after a certain, you know, like the machine gun thing. Like if you get a machine gun that was before that, you know what I mean? It's even like that in baseball. Who is it? Yadier Molina. He gets to use a bigger bat because he used that bat in his career prior to them making that rule. So he's one of the only people that can use that bat. If you came into the league after that shit, or if you never used that bat in your career prior to that, you can't use it. So that's pretty fair.
Kind of like the helmet, kind of how they did the helmets are like, we'll give y'all a couple years to change, but if y'all don't change after this year, it's on y'all.
That's a little closer to right. Like this, Yadier Molina ain't never got to change bats. He can just be the only person in the league that just got a bigger bat than everybody else. You know what I mean?
Well, they did that in the NFL, but then they said, "Nah, we got to put a cap on this."
Yeah, you got to put a cap on it in the NFL. And baseball, you know, in baseball, a lot of things go in baseball. Like a lot of, niggas have been stealing signs for years, and now we want to come out like it's just, niggas have been using spider tack and sticky shit for years. It would come out like it's just a brand new thing. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Who the fuck has been fouled? Like, that's the point of baseball is to cheat. Shut the